In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace the crankshaft position sensor on this BMW X5. This is going to be located underneath the starter motor attached to the engine. Let's get into it. After you open the lift gate, you want to drop the tailgate down, pull that lever, pop that down. Underneath this cargo area, you want to pop that up. Just going to use a hood prop and just prop that up out of the way. There's a tray right here. There may be some screws in those locations. This vehicle doesn't have any, so you want to take those out and then pull this tray up and out of the way. Now we're going to disconnect the battery, use a 10mm socket, loosen up the terminal, take that off, set that aside. While you have the battery disconnected, it's important to not close the liftgate because the latch is electronically controlled. You want to pull the engine cover off, just grab underneath the front, lift up, there's some grommets holding it on, and then pull it straight forward. There's just a clip in the back, it slides out. Now this hose that goes to this tube, you want to take that off, just squeeze this, that will release the locks. Down below there's a connector. I'm just going to use a pick, just get below this little tab here. Disconnect the connector. Take these two screws out, use a T25 socket. Pull those out. Using a 10mm socket, take this bolt out. Loosen up this clamp here, use a straight blade screwdriver. That's good. And down below, another clamp, loosen that one up. And grab the hose. Just gonna pull it off right there. Carefully pull this little hose out. This part right here is pretty brittle. So you can just pull that down a little bit. Before we take this completely off, we're just going to unclip it over here. There's a couple clips. Just use a pick or a screwdriver. It's a little bit tricky. You gotta get underneath. There you go. Pull that down. Pull that out. And grab the tube. And it comes right off. Loosen this clamp right here. Use a straight blade screwdriver. Pull this off. Now we can disconnect this connector. Just push down. It's for the map sensor. Disconnect the connector. Pull that out of the way. We're going to take the weather strip off right here. Just grab that, pull that up. Set that aside on the other side. Using a 13mm socket, we're going to take these wing nuts, just twist them like you're loosening them 90 degrees. They don't come out. They're just wing nuts. There you go. Grab that piece, pull it up and out of the way. And there's a cover under here. We're going to take these same wing nuts or similar wing nuts, use a 13mm socket, loosen these up. There you go. Grab the cover. Pull that off. Those are the cabin filters. And there's a sensor right here. I'm going to disconnect that sensor, push down on the tab, slide that off. Now right here there's a bolt. Use a 10mm socket. Take this one out. Pull that bolt out. I'm going to take this bolt out. Use a hex socket. This is a 5mm. Using a 10mm socket, take this bolt out. All right, just using a magnet, take that out. Now grab this panel, I'm going to lift it up, out of the way. And using a 13mm socket. On the other side, we're going to take this cover off. Same wing nuts, just twist them 90 degrees to the left. Grab the panel, pull it up, out of the way. We can pull the weather strip off the rest of the way. Right here, there's a push pin. Just use a trim tool, get underneath the push pin, and pop that off. Pull that off. Now we're going to take these two bolts out, use a 10mm socket. Remove those screws. Now using a 5mm hex socket, take this screw out here. Right there, and right here, same 5mm hex. Pull that out. Oh, there's one more right here. And pull that one out. Grab this panel. And if there's a wiring harness attached, you want to pop that clip off. Up top, there's two screws. We're going to use the hex 5mm socket. Take those out. Grab that panel, take that off. Now take this tube off. There's a clamp right here. We'll just use a little straight blade screwdriver. Just unclamp that. There's just clips on there. And then just pull this out of the way. Grab the air box and just pull it up. It's just grommets holding it on. Pull that out of the way. Now we're going to take this bar out, use a 15mm socket, take these bolts out. Take that out. Now take this bar off, 15mm socket. Take that out of the way. Underneath these wires right here, there's a couple screws. This vehicle, it's missing a few of them. We're going to use a T25 socket. Take these screws out. Pull those out. Now that's going to be loose. Where these wires are, there's a little cover here. Pull that up, out of the way. You can pull the wires, pull the harness up. Just want to get that out of the way. You can use a bungee cord, hold it to the back. care of this side out of the way. That's good. Right here, there's a bunch of wires that are secured with a wire tie. We're just going to cut those just with some side cutters, just so we can separate those from that bracket. And there's a wire tie right here. Just cut that. Just be careful not to cut the wires. You can disconnect these connectors. Might be easier to just pull them out of the bracket. Push down on the tab, push those over, just like that. And down here, there's another connector. Just push down on that. Pull that off. You can take those wires and drape them that way. Under here, we're going to disconnect these wires. This goes to the purge solenoid. Push down on the lock, disconnect that. And there's a sensor right here, disconnect this one. Just push down on the lock. Pop that off. If you follow these wires down here, there's another connector. To disconnect this connector, we're going to have to disconnect the other two. So just using a straight blade screwdriver, there's a little tab right here. You want to push down on that tab, and then this ratchets down. Disconnect the connector, set that aside. Same with this one. Pull that aside, and this one. Pull those off. We can slide this through. Disconnect the connector right here, just push down on the tab, slide that off. And for the high pressure fuel sensor, disconnect that, pop that off. And this harness, pull this through, out of the way. And the other harness, just move that out of the way. Disconnect the connector for the map sensor, push down on the tab. That off. This tube right here, pull this off. There's a connection right here. Just push and pull the tube up. That'll separate that. And then right on this hose, do the same. Just push this little retainer. And you can pull that tube out of the way. Now we'll take this tube off. You just use a straight blade screwdriver, loosen up this clamp. Right, that's loose. Using a T30 socket, loosen up this screw on the bracket. Our vehicle, this bracket's broken, but normally that bracket's going to stay attached to that tube. I'm going to disconnect this pressure sensor. Just push down on the tab, disconnect that. There's a clamp that goes around the hose, or the tube. Pull that up so it's in service position, so you can pop it off the throttle body, just like that. You can grab this, pull that off the front. Right, then you can pull that out of the way. Watch out for that hose. Right there. Now the purge valve, I'm just going to slide this off the bracket. You just push that out of the way. Now reach down underneath the throttle body. You want to disconnect the connector. It's right there. You just want to push on the tab and try to disconnect that. All right, disconnect that. That's good. Now we're going to disconnect this tube right here. This goes to the purge valve. Just push down on the connector and separate the hose. There you go, pop that off. And we'll just leave that like that. This tube that goes over the valve cover, we're going to disconnect that. Just push on the tabs over here on the sides. Disconnect that one. Just going to use a pick, just try to get underneath here. You should just be able to squeeze it, but sometimes it won't come off. If you need to, pull that bracket out of the way. There we go. Pop that off. A bit of air, a little bit of vacuum there. And then the tube down below, you can just pull it up. And it disconnects down below, right there. Now we're going to use a 11mm socket. Take these bolts and nuts out of the intake. Just going to loosen them all up first before we take them out. All right, there we go. Now I'll take those out. You can use a magnet if it helps, just so you don't lose the nut. There we go. And one more bolt. We need to disconnect these connectors that go to this module. On the back connector, there's a little lock tab that kind of slides out. So you just pull that out. As you pull it out, it's gonna disconnect. Shouldn't pull out completely like that, but just leave that in there. And the other connectors, you just push on the tabs. There's a tab on the front, tab on the back. It's a little bit tricky. Disconnect that, and this one as well. I'll move those wires out of the way. And grab the intake, pull it up. If there's any wires that are attached, you pop those off. And it comes right out. I'm going to disconnect the starter. There's a wire right here. Just push down on the tab. Disconnect that connector. Now using a 13mm socket, and I'm just going to use a 13mm wrench just to prevent the stud from spinning. Take this nut off. Once you break it free, you can take it off by hand. And pull the wire off out of the way. Now the starter bolt that is higher up, that goes behind the transmission actually. So you're gonna have to use a socket and take the bolt out backwards. It is a E12 socket that you're gonna use. So you might need a flex head ratchet. All right, take that bolt out. There's the bolt. So it goes in and screws into the starter from the back of the transmission bell housing. Now we'll take the lower starter bolt out, same E12 socket. Let's see. Just crack it free. You can spin it out by hand. Pull that out and grab the starter, and it comes right out. Now right here, we're going to disconnect the connector. Just push down on the tab. All right, disconnect the connector. And using a E8 socket, take this bolt out. Take that out. Grab that part of the sensor that comes out. And you can follow the wire back, and you're going to see it goes into where the hole where the starter is. And there's a bolt in there. You're going to have to take that bolt out. I'm just going to use a rag and wipe off some of the dirt and debris. Now I'm going to use a T25 socket and take this bolt out. And it looks like the bolt is caged, so that's okay. All right, so the bolt is actually going to stay with the sensor, so don't worry about that. So pull that out. And there's the sensor with the bolt in it. I'm going to take the new crank sensor and slide it into position. Make sure that's lined up. There is a little tab that lines up with the slot. Snug that down. Now I'm going to torque that bolt to 72 inch-pounds. That's good. Now I'm going to take the other part of the sensor where the connector is, put that in position, put the bolt in, snug that down, and we're going to torque that to 72 inch-pounds. Take that off, take the connector, line that up, lock it down. Now take the starter, line that up, and get the bottom bolt started. And take the top bolt that goes from the transmission, reach back there, go through the bell housing, and tighten these down. Now you want to torque these bolts to 28 foot-pounds. And the back one is very difficult to get a torque wrench in there. If you can, torque that one to 28 foot-pounds as well. Do the best you can. I'm just going to snug this one down. All right, that's good. That's tight. Now I'll connect the power wire and take the nut, get that started. tighten that down. Snug that down. Now we're going to torque this nut to 10 foot-pounds. All right, there we go. Connect the connector, lock it down. I just take some brake parts cleaner and the surface area where the seals on the intake are going to go. You want to just clean that up. Make sure there's no gasket material or any carbon buildup or corrosion. This looks pretty good. Just wipe it down. Yep, that looks good. And we can install the intake. Take the intake, slide it over the studs. Just get the wires out of the way. There we go. Looks good. Now before I put any of the bolts in, it's kind of hard to access the throttle body wire, so I'm going to plug that in. Just grab that connector, line that up. And that's lined up, and lock that down in place. That's good. And if there's any wire retainers, you want to push that in place. Now take the bolts, get those started. And put all the nuts on. All right, those are all started. I'm just going to hold the intake in place a little bit. And I'll snug these down. Starting in the middle and working your way out. I'm going to go back and torque these to 11 foot-pounds. Again, I'm starting in the middle, working my way outward. There we go. Now take this tube. It's going to slide down in between the intake port right there. And you're going to reach for it underneath. And there's a fitting down below. You're going to just slide it on that fitting. And attach it to the valve cover. Just get that lined up. Lock that in place. Now take the wiring harness, position this back in the retainers. This connector is going to go back here. This will wrap around down below. up. And push it down, lock that in place. Connect this connector right here. Lock that down, and the other one. It's going to go there. Another wiring harness that comes through. I can go under that wiring harness. This will clip in place. It's going to go right there. This other connector will go right there. Lock that down. The connector in the back. Push that on and then push that little ratchet in place. And the other wiring harness is going to come across. This one goes in the middle here. Lock that down. And there's a connector back here. It's going to attach to this one. Right here. These two are going to attach together. Just like that. And this wire is going to go to the mass airflow or the map sensor. It's going to go right there. Lock that down. This will go across on the back. And another connector. It's going to go to the module right there. Lock that down. That's good. There's a connector down here that's going to go to the other map sensor. And there's a connector back here for the fuel, high pressure fuel sensor. Connect that. Just push these wires into the retainers if you can. You can wire tie these together as well. And the connectors over here for the O2 sensors. Lock those in place. And push those into the retainers. This wiring harness as well. You connect that to that connector down below. Now take this pipe. This is going to go in between the intake right there, and just twist it back and forth. And then down below you can see there's a fitting where it needs to attach. Just push it onto that. That's good. Connect the pipe over here. Lock it down. I'm going to take this tube. Make sure you put this back in the regular position versus the service position. Just get this lined up. Push it onto that tube in the front. Line that over the throttle body. And lock it down. Take that connector and we'll connect that map sensor or airflow meter. Lock that down. And we've got this hose here. Connect this hose right there. And just using the straight blade screwdriver, tighten down the worm clamp in the front. Snug that down. That's good. This bracket needs to line up with this bracket. Get that lined up and then tighten that screw down. snug that down. Now this tube, go under the wires, under that tube, get this lined up, lock that down, lock this one down. If yours has a retainer, you want to push that in place, and that's going to go over there. Now with all these wires, we're just going to take some wire ties and wire tie them together. And just make sure they're out of the way. That's good. And just trim the excess. Now take the bungee cables down. And re-secure the wiring harness in place. It should go there. And we had a screw right here. You want to get that started. Secure that down. Snug that down. If you had other screws, put those in. Take these bars, get the bolts started. And tighten these down. Snug those down. Do the same on the other side. This piece is going to go in here. Just push that down. It's going to be pressed down by the panel that goes above it. Now take this panel. It's going to go in the middle here. Get the screws. Get those started. Tighten those down. Take this panel, get this lined up. It's going to go under there, and line up over here. That looks good. Take these screws, get those started. And the screw right here. Tighten these down. Snug those down. And on the other side, the same. We get the panel lined up. Get that in position. Have to make some adjustments. All right, that's lined up. Get all the bolts started. There's 2 more bolts down here. Those are lined up. And then the push pin right here. Push that in. And secure that down. Tighten this down. And this one. And these two. And this one. That's good. Now take the cabin filter housing. Slide this in place. There's a connector right here. Make sure you plug that in. That lined up. That's good. And just secure the wing nuts. Just 90 degrees to the right. That's good. I'm gonna take this cover, line this up. Before I secure that down, we're going to put the other side on. This side goes down first. And take the socket and just turn these wing nuts to the right, 90 degrees. Secure those down. That's good. We'll do the same on the other side. Make sure this wire is out. I'm going to take the air box, get that lined up. Push that down on the grommets. Secure this tube on. Just get that lined up. Right there. There we go. And squeeze that clamp. I'm going to take the connector, plug this in, slide that on, and push that down in place. And before we tighten that down, take the other one, the other tube, get this lined up. Take this hose, secure that down. This little tube, get this lined up. Pull it out a little bit just so you don't bend it too much. Be careful, these are brittle. It's a good idea to replace it while you're doing it. All right, lock that in place. I'm going to take these 2 screws, get these started. And snug those down. That's good. Reach down, grab the connector for that. Plug that in. And screw right here for the tube. Get that in. We'll tighten that down. Snug that down. And tighten down the clamps. Just snug those down. That's good. Now take the cover, line that up in the back. There's some slots, line that up, put it in the front, push it down in place. And the weather strip, get this lined up. And re-secure it. Now you want to connect the connector. Get that lined up. And we'll snug this down. Take the cover. Get that lined up in position. And if yours was screwed in, put the screws in. Tighten that down. Now remove the hood prop. Lower that cover down. Close the tailgate, and then you can close the lift gate, and you're good to go.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.